Hello guys, so welcome back. Today we are going to work on a very simple tutorial, so we'll go ahead. This tutorial is a segue example, so I'm going to explain a couple of things. First, in this tutorial we are going to see how the static cells are created, so we'll go ahead and we'll create a sample template. And the second thing, I'm going to show you the concept of unwind segues. So we'll go ahead, open the storyboard and delete the default view controller which we have, and we'll have a navigation controller which will have a table view controller attached to it with one prototype cell. So what we will do first, we'll make it as an initial view controller and run the app to see if everything looks fine. So let me run this quickly and we'll see on the simulator we'll have a default table view controller. So we should be seeing it. Just give it a moment. Yeah, so we could see a dummy table view controller created. Next up, we are going to delete the default view controller. Make sure you move it to trash. And what we will do, we'll create a couple of scenes. We'll go ahead and quickly create the first scene, and I'll give the file name here, and then I will save it. And similarly, I'll create the other scene files quickly and I'll explain. So we'll go to the first scene. Let's give the superclass as UITableView controller, as we have the first controller as a table view controller, and rest of them will give the UI view controllers. So here we are with the third scene and we'll give UI view controller. Plain and simple. Let's open the storyboard, click on the navigation bar and give it a title which says first scene, just for our understanding. So now we have navigation bar title set. Let's delete the prototype cell and you can select here and give the class name and go to the attribute inspector. Let's select this controller, go to the attribute inspector, and then we'll say the table view to static cells. So what we do is, with this we get 3 dummy cells. You could see here table view, and then we'll make sure, like we'll say the style is grouped. So what we have right now is 3 table view cells. Okay, and we'll say what we need is the accessory type, we need the disclosure. Okay, we have couple of properties here. We say all the cells are basic and we have the selection type disclosure, so it will look like it's clickable cell. So that's where I'm going to show you the how we can have a segue connection. So here we'll do the same steps. We'll change it to cell 2 title, and then we'll say we have multiple options when we go for this specific table view cell. You have a disclosure indicator and other options. Okay, okay, my bad, it became small. So I'll go to the third cell, I'll do the same steps, I'll make it the disclosure indicator. Now I'll change it to cell 3, and what we could see, now we have 3 static cells. Okay, if I run it, till now I have not written any code, everything is done in the nib, and you could see this is displayed as 3 cells. We'll add one view controller to our storyboard and we'll name it, you guess it, our second scene. Okay, similarly we should have the third scene as well. So on second scene, what we need is, right now if I click on the simulator, we don't do anything because there is no action. So we'll say we'll hit the control on the laptop and then we'll drag it onto the second view and it says segue connection. You could see here again, control drag, it will say selection segue is show. Perfect. Now we have 3 segue connection. So any cell you click, it will take you to the second scene. So we could see here, now we have 3 static cells. I click on it, it'll say go back to the first scene. Simple enough. It was quite simple. We have not written any code as of now, but we have 2 specific traversal clicking on. You can have different screens also. Now I have changed the background color and I'll run. You can have different screens and you can connect it to the different screens. So say like my cell 1 goes to first scene, 2 goes to second, and 3 goes to third scene, and you have different view layouts that you can achieve very quickly. So let's drag the button to the second view controller. What I'm going to do here is I want this button to be aligned horizontally and vertically. So here you could see the bottom tab which says horizontally in the container and vertically in the container. You add the constraints and you're done. And there is a shortcut with option and click, you could get into the assistant navigator, and now you can directly from the button control and drag to your view controller and you will get this outlet directly. Quickly give this some name and press enter. And I'll go ahead and I'll write some code, and once I'm done I will explain what exactly I have done. So what I've done in this controller, I created a value string property which will be passed from the first screen, and whatever value I'm passing from the first screen, I will check if the count is more than 0, and whichever button we have created will set the title which goes exactly the value passed by the previous view controller. If the previous view controller is not passing anything, we are not setting anything on the button. So it's clear enough. So from the first scene, if you are clicking on the first cell, we will make sure to pass some unique value which is shown on the second controller as a button title. So I'll go ahead and I'll write quickly some code in this class. There is a method which says prepare first segue, and we have a sender. So I will do here, I could get the destination segue. In this case, since I am aware like I am going to the second controller which is second scene, I can go ahead and forcefully unwrap it. It's not safe. I'm just, for this example, I'm demonstrating, I'm making use of it. Okay, else you could make use of if let, and you can check if the controller or the scene is the second scene, then you should do some specific operation. In our case, we are sure for this specific example we are going to the second scene, so I'll go ahead and I'll do it. Okay, so here, just to make sure what exactly is happening, we'll select this segue is the cell 3 segue, and we need to add identifier for each and every segue to behave correctly. So we can identify like which segue action is clicked, and we can pass that specific data. So here I am giving a unique identifier to each and every segue. I'll go ahead to the view controller and I'll write some code quickly and I'll explain what exactly I'm trying to do here. Okay, so here what we wanted to do is we have a segue identifier and we'll try to compare if the segue identifier is of type the identifier which we have set. So here we are. So what we have done here is destination, we know the second scene, and what we are doing is if specific identifier we are passing that value. So you could see we say segue dot value s dot value equal to that specific identifier, we are passing it to the second scene. And we will see on the second scene how this value is being used. Let's go to the second scene, and here you can see when for the set title we say value for the UI control state normal. So whatever value is passed from the previous scene, we set button title as that specific value. We can see that. Let's click on any cell and you can see cell 1 segue, perfect, cell 2 segue, and similarly we'll be seeing for cell 3. We have not done any mistake. So we are very good here. Here what we have seen till now is we have 3 static cells, and on the click of every static cell we are passing data to our second scene. It's very simple. Now I'm going to explain you the concept of unwind segue. Okay, what exactly is that you will get to know in some time. So let's do the basic setup where we will give the class name as third scene, and from the button what we need is the same connection. Will say action segue is show. So what happens with this, when you click on the button on the second scene, it will take you to the third scene. So here you see I clicked on the cell 1 segue, I click on this button, it took me to the third scene. Okay, it's very simple. From the first scene you click and you go to the third scene. You have the navigation back button, you can go back to the first screen following that. So what the concept of Unwind Segue is, whichever segue you want to go, you will have a segue connection, and which you can actually connect in the storyboard, which I will show you. So we'll quickly create Unwind to Home IB action, which will have a sender as a UI storyboard segue, and we are not doing anything, so I'll keep this method empty. So we'll quickly move to the storyboard, and we'll see how this connection can be made. For that, let's create a button on the third screen, and we'll give, and similarly, since we wanted this button to be in the center, we'll give the name first to the button which says return to home. Okay, and we'll quickly align it to again horizontally and vertically center, and we'll have the constraints. So once we have this, how the connection we can make it. So what exactly we wanted from the last one, we wanted to move to home. So you have here first responder, and then you have exit. If you click control exit, you will get this option where this presenting segue, what we need is unwind to home. This is the presenting we want. When you click on this, exit should be the first scene. You got this point clear? This concept is called the unwinding segue. So you want from third, you want the exit point. When you click on home, it should take you back to the first scene. So you click on first, you go to the second one, and now you have multiple options from go here. One is purely the navigation stack, another one is segue. Perfect. So you went back from the last scene to the first scene. Now I'm going to show you how you can pass data. So what we can do is, on the third scene, we'll say we wanted, again we have the method, we have to override prepare for segue, and here let's create home view controller. Okay, here we have the segue dot destination. Since we have connected it to the very first view controller, we know that. So we'll say as first scene. So we get specific view controller, and view controller property we can set whatever data we wanted to pass. So what we will do, we don't have any property in the first scene. We'll go ahead in the first scene and we'll create a property. So here we are in the first scene. We don't have any property which can actually have the data on. So let's quickly write some code and I'll explain. So I'll create a property data string which says this is a first launch, and then I will override the method view will appear, and here what we will do is I'll update the title with the data string. Simple. And from here, if I just comment this line and run it, so what happens is it should show me the first launch, the title. Since the string has that value first launch, you could see on the top of the title bar. Very clean. Now from the third scene, let me uncomment it, and dot date string, I will pass here some unique identifier. I'll say it came from the third scene. Okay, and we'll quickly see if this data is passed to our first scene. Basically it should be, because when we exit from the third controller, view will appear, will get triggered for first scene. We can see segue 1, we click on this, and now you can go back from here, but when you hit on this, you could see it came from third scene, which is basically on the third scene. You could get the sender here also, and you can actually, when you know the sender is of type third scene, you could get detail here itself. I don't know why this is not getting triggered. I'll quickly relaunch it. It should actually, this action should get triggered. Let's quickly relaunch this app and see if this action unwind to home is getting triggered. Now I'll click on cell 1 segue home, and here if I print on console, I could get a sender is of type specific type, and whatever data, whichever data you wanted to pass, you can pass it like that. So it is very simple. The only thing is, once we understand this concept, we can tweak it the way we want. You could see here it says the third scene. You can pass any specific data here, and this is it for today. I would be covering a number of topics on this channel, and it would be a great help if you actually encourage me by hitting the like button and subscribing to this channel. And please let me know in the comment if you have any suggestions for me. Thank you very much. See you.